The former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua hides as the court rules on his impeachment case. Welcome to Kenyan Media, where we talk politics, we analyze, and also we give you news updates as they break. So if you are new here, consider subscribing, liking, and sharing our content. Hit the notification bell so that you can be receiving notifications each and every time we give you news updates. Now, the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua was notably absent on Monday, June 8, 2026, as the High Court delivered its highly anticipated judgment in the case challenging his impeachment. The ruling, being read by the three-judge bench at the Milimani Law Courts, is expected to determine whether the impeachment process that removed him from office met constitutional requirements, a decision that could shape Kenya's political landscape ahead of the 2027 general election. In a development that has drawn national attention, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua did not appear in court for one of the most significant moments of his political career, and the judgment delivered at the Milimani Law Courts in Nairobi comes after months of legal battles surrounding his impeachment by Parliament on October 2024. The case has attracted widespread interest from political leaders, legal experts, supporters, and ordinary Kenyans who have closely followed the proceedings from the beginning. On Monday morning, the courtroom was packed long before the judges took their seats. Presiding over the matter was a three-judge bench comprising Justice Eric Ogolla, Anthony Murima, and also Fred Mogambi. The judges were tasked with delivering a ruling that could determine not only the future of Gachagua's legal challenge, but also provide important guidance on constitutional processes surrounding impeachment in Kenya. Yet amid the anticipation and heightened public interest, one notable figure was missing. And for the first time since the proceeding began, Rigathi Gachagua himself was absent from the courtroom. His absence immediately became one of the most discussed aspects of the day, and throughout previous hearings, the former deputy president had maintained a visible presence in court. He regularly attended sessions and was often accompanied by members of the family. His wife, Reverend Dorcas Rigathi, had become a familiar figure in the courtroom, frequently sitting beside him during proceedings in what many viewed as a strong display of family support and solidarity. That image contrasted sharply with Monday's proceedings, and instead of appearing in person, Gachagua relied on his legal team to represent him before the court. Leading his defense was Kirinyaga woman representative and lawyer Njeri Maina, alongside other members of the legal team that has been spearheading the constitutional challenge against this impeachment. The lawyers arrived at Milimani Law Courts prepared for what many considered the decisive stage of the case. For months, they have argued that the impeachment process was flawed and did not meet constitutional standards. This central argument has been that the former deputy president has denied a fair hearing. According to the legal team, both the National Assembly and the Senate allegedly failed to adhere fully to the constitutional provisions during impeachment proceedings. The lawyers have maintained that procedural fairness is a cornerstone of Kenya's constitutional democracy, and that any departure from established legal standards raises serious questions about the legitimacy of such a process. As the judgment was being delivered, supporters and political allies of the former deputy president filled the courtroom. Several prominent figures allied to Gachagua were present, and among them was Democracy for Citizens Party Deputy Party Leader Cleophas Malala. Also present were Kirinyaga woman representative Jane Njeri Maina, Kiambu Senator Karungo Wathangwa, Kajiado North Member of Parliament Onesimus Ngogoyo, former nominated Senator Gloria Uroba, and the East African Legislative Assembly member Kanini Kega. Their presence underscored the political weight attached to the case. For many of Gachagua's allies, the court challenge has become more than a legal contest. It has evolved into a broader debate about constitutional governance, political accountability, and the limits of parliamentary power. The gathering of political leaders inside the courtroom reflected the significance of the ruling that the interest it continues to generate across the country. Outside the courtroom, public attention remained fixed on the proceedings, and many Kenyans have viewed the case as a test of the country's constitutional institutions. The matter touches on fundamental questions about how leaders are removed from office, how constitutional safeguards are applied, and how disputes involving high-ranking public officials should be resolved. The origins of the case trace back to October 2024. That was when Parliament impeached Rigathi Gachagua, bringing an abrupt end to his tenure as the deputy president. The impeachment marked one of the most consequential political developments in recent Kenyan history. Following his removal, Gachagua moved to court seeking legal redress. His legal team challenged the decision made by both the National Assembly and the Senate, and the former deputy president argued that the process leading to his impeachment was unconstitutional and also procedurally effective. Among the remedies sought by his lawyers is the quashing of the parliamentary resolutions that facilitated his removal from office. The legal team has also sought compensation linked to losses allegedly arising from the impeachment, and at the center of the dispute is the question of whether constitutional requirements were followed throughout the process. The High Court's judgment is therefore expected to address critical legal questions regarding due process, fairness, and also constitutional powers of Parliament. Legal observers noted that such decisions often extend beyond the immediate parties involved. Court rulings in constitutional matters frequently establish precedents that shape future governance and also institutional conduct. For that reason, the judgment is being closely watched by legal scholars, political actors, and also governance experts alike. Beyond the courtroom, the political implications are substantial, and Kenya is gradually moving towards the next general election scheduled for 2027. And as political alignments continue to evolve, the outcome of this case carries potential significance for the broader political environment. The former deputy president remains an influential political figure with a substantial support base in several parts of the country. Any legal determination concerning his impeachment is therefore likely to resonate far beyond legal circles. At the same time, the proceedings have highlighted the role of the judiciary as an independent arbiter in the constitutional disputes. And in moments of political uncertainty, courts often become the institutions entrusted with interpreting the law and providing clarity on contested issues. Monday's judgment represents one such moment, and for many Kenyans, the focus is not only on the fate of one politician, but also on the strength of the credibility of constitutional processes. The absence of Gachagua on such an important day has inevitably generated discussion. Questions have emerged regarding his whereabouts and the reasons he chose not to attend the final session in person. However, no official explanation has been provided within the proceedings, and leaving attention focused primarily on the judgment itself rather than the circumstances of his absence. What remains clear is that the legal battle surrounding his impeachment has become one of the defining political and constitutional cases of recent years, and the proceedings have brought together issues of law, governance, accountability, and political leadership. As the judges delivered their findings, the country waited for answers that could influence future interpretations of impeachment procedures and constitutional safeguards. The ruling is expected to provide important guidance on how institutions should conduct themselves when handling matters involving senior state officers. It also serves as a reminder of the central role the Constitution plays in resolving disputes within the democratic system. Regardless of political affiliations, the outcome is likely to contribute to ongoing national conversations about leadership, justice, and the rule of law. For supporters, opponents, and also neutral observers alike, the significance of the judgment lies not only in its immediate consequences, but also in what it says about Kenya's constitutional journey. And as the nation reflects on the court's decision, one truth remains clear, that in a constitutional democracy, leaders may come and go, but the enduring test is whether institutions remain strong enough to uphold the rule of law for generations to come. That is all for today from Kenya Lens Media, where we give you news updates as they break. Kindly, if you're new here, consider subscribing.